We'll get done quick. I'll get out and enjoy it.
All right, we're gonna go ahead and get started with the May 9, 2023 Greenup City Council meeting with roll call.
Mark Harris.
Here.
John Norman.
Here.
Doreen Hill. Bruce Mance.
Here.
Shane Gill.
Yes. The first item on the agenda, and I'm going to skip around on your guys' agenda. First item on the agenda is going to be the second reading of the budget ordinance. Would someone like to hear that?
I'll first. All right, in order to the city of Greenup, Kentucky appropriating revenue and providing for, I'll just paraphrase, spending the same and other matters. And that's your second reading of the budget ordinance for 2023, 2024.
Is there a motion to accept the second reading?
I'll make it.
Did Jamie already make it?
Yeah.
That's what you just said, I'm sorry.
I'll take it.
Mark, second. Is there any discussion? Roll call.
Jamie Gillum.
Yes.
Mark Harris.
Yes.
John Norman.
Yes.
Doreen Hill. Bruce Mance.
Yes.
Next thing we're going to do is we're going to skip down to awarding the contract for Phase 9B of Waterline Project, pending approval from the Division of Water. Obviously, you guys see Judge Hall in the back. That's probably why he is here as well, to see what we're going to do with that. And he may or may not have some input, but we've already had the bid opening. Richard has the prices. I will tell you guys this, it was a very competitive bid. If memory serves me correct, it was very few $1,000s between Southern Ohio Trenching and Little Creek Construction. BP Pipeline was a little off. With that being said, and I think Roger Harris would agree with this, that we have worked closely with Little Creek Construction. They are cheaper on the baseline bid, and Steve and his crew does a good job, and I would highly recommend Little Creek Construction. However, whomever makes the motion tonight, and once it gets passed, you guys need to be aware that it is pending Division of Water approval. Okay? And then once you guys select the contractor, I will make contact with that contractor and explain to them that, you know, they have been awarded the bid. However, it is pending the Division of Water approval. I think we'll probably have that approval letter within the next week, week and a half, maybe 2 weeks. But we also know how the Division of Water can be at times. It gets slow when it comes to Frankfurt. That's really all I have to say, other than, you know, it was a real close race. I don't have anything against Southern Ohio Trenching, other than Little Creek we worked with before, and, you know, they're right down here off Smith Branch, the Greenup County people. We got Greenup County people working for them, so that's your all's decision. Judge Hall?
I just want to ask a quick question. I listened to this Little Creek Construction. We worked with them before. How long have they been in business and all that kind of stuff?
Yeah, good question for Roger. Longer than I've been here.
Long years, a long time. I couldn't tell you exactly.
25 to 30 years at least.
Yeah.
They work all over the United States.
Yeah.
This comes to it, not just here.
They did our last thing that we had to.
How was that? Everything worked out real well?
Any problems I had, all I did is call him, he was right there.
Well, now make a motion, we accept the bid for Little Creek Construction.
I'll second. Before we have a discussion, Judge, do you have anything to add?
No, sir, you covered everything well, thank you.
Okay. Is there any discussion?
discuss, like I said, I really don't know much about this Little Creek construction, so there's not much I can discuss other than how long it's been in service. And you testified that they're a good service, and you haven't had any problems with them or any issues with them?
No. No.
So we have a motion and a second on the floor. Roll call.
Bruce Mance,
Yes.
John Norman,
Yes.
Teresa Hill,
Yes.
Jamie Gillum,
Yes.
Mark Harris.
Yes, Roger says they're good, good enough for me.
Just for you all to know, I'll be reviewing that contract before we sign it. So, yeah, there's always that implied with any construction project, that the contract needs approved by the legal department, so.
I was looking, there's not much difference, and it's home, it's Greenup.
Yes, sir.
So, I mean,
Next item on the agenda is approve the water line project for Tom Reed. And Roger, I think you and Tom have discussed that.
Yeah, he approached me, he's wanting to install 975 feet of 4-inch water line out on Route 1 just past Plum Grove, out there based, I think it's where he lives anyhow. He's wanting to, and he'll be doing that himself, he'll be doing all the work himself, and he would have to tie into our 8-inch line. I've looked at the pressures and the elevations, and there shouldn't be any problem at all. I just need your all's approval to let him do this, and then once you all approve it, he's going to submit it to Frank.
One question, before you are on you, is he planning on doing a subdivision out there, or what?
He's planning on putting, developing it, and he's got possibly 12
Well, half
households.
possibly?
Yeah,
Okay.
so it will pay for itself.
Again, I hate to be the one always asking these
Sure.
questions.
No, go ahead.
Who exactly is this Tom Reed?
That's, what was Roger Reed's brother, Alan Reed, also down at the county there.
Everything the trucks, telco, that run around town all the time. That's his company.
Thomas Environmental.
Yeah, Thomas Environmental.
So what we need from the city council is a approval for water line extension for Tom Reed on his property at no cost to the city. Jamie has made that motion.
no cost, but it can't be done.
No.
That's a no-brainer if we're gonna get half out of it.
Yeah.
We're gonna make money in.
So we have a motion and a second on the floor. So any discussion?
I just, the 4-inch will feed what he wants to up there.
Shouldn't have any problem at all.
Roll call.
Jamie Gillum,
Yes.
Bruce Mance,
Yes.
Teresa Hill, Mark Harris,
Yes.
John Norman.
Yes. The next item on the agenda is a Lloyd annexation. I'll turn that over to council and let him speak.
What this is the finalization of our annexation project we started in 2022, or actually 2023. Well, 2022 if you count from that. That was really hard part. This takes in US 23, where we have water lines, is what it does. And our time has passed away, no one has objected to it. Anyone involved in it is okay with it. And so I just need to have the final reading of the ordinance, and then Richard and I have a lot more work to do. Frank, Richard, you'll never see, because that's the way these things work. But if someone asks the second reading, we'll get it done. Appreciate it. In order to the City of Greenup, Kentucky, providing for the final annexation of certain unincorporated territory, defining the boundary of the unincorporated territory, to be finally annexed, declaring it desirable to annex the unincorporated territory and other matters. And I do need a need to have it voted on.
So is there a motion to accept the second reading?
I'll make that motion.
Have a motion, is there a second?
I'll second.
Is there any discussion? Roll call.
Mark Harris,
Yes.
John Norman,
Yes.
Teresa Hill, Bruce Mance,
Yes.
Jamie Gillum.
Yes.
Excuse me. Next item on the agenda is to bid out blacktop. The thing I need is a motion to bid out blacktop. We will bid it the same way we've bid it in the past years, per ton laid. We may even be able to talk to the judge after this or tomorrow, and maybe see if we can go in together, hopefully bid out blacktop good or not. But I just need a motion to bid out blacktop. We'll figure advertisement out, and then we'll open up bids at our next council meeting.
I'll make that motion.
Second.
I have a motion and a second to bid out blacktop. Is there any discussion? A roll call.
Bruce Mance,
Yes.
John Norman,
Yes.
Mark Harris,
Yes.
Teresa Hill,
Yes.
Jamie Gillum.
Yes.
Now let's talk about union contracts. You all are fully aware that the employees have met, and our committee met with the union, and pretty much ratified, I guess is the right word, the union contract. You guys had that delivered to you all. On behalf of our committee, you all will see that there is some, I'm gonna scoot closer to the microphone so people can hear me. There is some steep raises in there. There's some people that are, not some people, there are employees that have worked here for many years for pennies on the dollar. And it's time to reward these employees, and if we want to keep employees that are qualified to do the jobs that we need them to do, our committee felt it was necessary for these pay increases. There were some things in the contract that they asked for, they did not receive. I've seen a lot of frowns whenever we come back in, I was saying no, 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 until we got to wages, and then everybody was like, okay, we see where this is going. But as a committee, we also understood that with these raises, with the upcoming water plant issues that we're having, intake issues that we're having, that we're gonna have to raise some revenue. And I know, sitting in a council seat, that's not a very fun thing to do. Because you obviously want to be elected again, and it's hard to raise revenue on people that you live in a town with, 1,200 people. But it's something that we had to do to be able to retain quality people. And I'm just going to be blunt. We would have seen a mass exit from the water plant. One gentleman had already turned in his 2-week notice. He had about a week left before union negotiations had started. Since then, since the contract passed by our committee and the employees, he's rescinded his resignation, which is the first time I've ever allowed someone to rescind their resignation. Usually whenever you give your resignation, you're gone. So, police officers, we've talked about police officers before in the past. I've sent you all text messages of what Russell was starting out police officers at. And there's other employees as well. But this is the reason for the steep raises. And it was time. We were way behind in times. The city of Ashland, and thank you, Michelle, for allowing us, and Matt is listening, thank you, Matt Perkins, before, the city of Ashland had done hired a consultant to come in to do a study. And we were able to use some of that information off of the city of Ashland to help us make some of our decisions. We also got some information from other cities and some information from the Kentucky League of Cities. So, do any of you guys have any questions about the contract that either I could answer or Roger, being you are the union president, could answer for you guys? If not, I will tell you that this is a 3-year, maybe possibly a 4-year contract. Did he get approval for the 4 year? So this is a 4-year contract. So, Mr. Pincock had to go to his supervisors, and he was only authorized to do a 3 year. So this is a 4-year contract, which really puts not only the city in good shape, but it also puts the employees in good shape. But again, I will stress to you, 5 individuals sitting here, that revenue streams are going to have to increase. Not just because of wages. The most important thing is water plant and water plant intakes. So if there's no discussion and you guys want to agree upon it, I just need a motion to accept the union contract with the city of Greenup and the United Steelworkers for 4 years. So we had a motion and a second. I've already asked if there was discussion, and nobody seemed to have any, so we'll put it to a roll call vote.
The only concern that I have is, I know we needed to do this. I just don't want to strap our citizens terribly. But we have to keep good quality employees. And it seems like it's increasing everywhere. That we just have no choice that we have to do.
And you are correct, like I told you guys before. There is some, I guess it would be okay for me to say this, if not, Steve will kick me in the leg. There's some actual litigation between a couple of cities over an employee because of pay.
And the problem that you have is the same as on quarter two, which is you're not competing with just local employers, job for employees. You're competing with Northern Kentucky, you're competing with Lexington, you're competing with Cincinnati. And that's true particularly in your highly specialized jobs that you have in your water, your sewer, and your police officers. And every city, I don't just represent you all, I represent several other cities. Every city has raised their pay because it's either that or you see your employees go somewhere else to work. Because that's the way it is.
Well, one other thing we need to consider is the employees that we have in some of these positions take years and years to get their accreditations to be able to be in those positions.
And turnover for the city in your employee positions, it's a really expensive thing. It's really expensive. And it may be now, for everybody the water bill, which includes me. But I'm telling you, it'd be a lot more painful if you had to go out and replace some of the folks that you have to replace because they don't know. Like the guy sitting over there knows your water system, and that's the way it is. And there isn't anyone else that does. And he'll want, and in his 4 years, you'll probably see you training someone to be able to, take over. Yeah, and there are cities that face the very real possibility of key people leaving and not training you. And you do not want to be in that position with 3,000 water customers and how many hundreds of miles of line? 350. Yeah, it's a big deal. The city of Greenup is a huge, enormous business, and you cannot afford to turn it. You just can't do it.
Well, I mean, less extensive and less, you know, a physical job and made more. I mean, so I think they showed loyalty, and I think, you know, we're returning.
You're repaying it. That's right.
Absolutely, and we're fortunate, and, you know, we've all, this body has done a great job, we've all done a great job getting us to where we are now, where we can actually afford to be able to do this. So, that being said, we got a motion and a second. Correct?
Yes.
Roll call.
Jamie Gillum,
Yes.
John Norman,
Yes.
Mark Harris,
Yes.
Teresa Hill, Bruce Manis.
Yes.
Mr. Pidcock draft up all the paperwork, and we'll get it signed and get it taken care of.
Send it up, make sure he copies me on it. Tell him I said hi too.
Okay. Michelle, I want to put you on the spot. Did you give us an update on odds?
He's actually coming Monday
Okay.
to finish one, and he's maybe a third done with the other,
Okay.
so he's working on two.
Okay. Good deal.
And you know, all we caught up.
Awesome. Yeah, we can't wait to put that one on this. And I do like I do every council meeting, I'll skip approved minutes. So we need to approve the minutes from the last meeting.
I'll make a motion.
A motion and a second. Is there any discussion? Roll call.
Bruce Manis,
Yes.
Teresa Hill, Jamie Gillum,
Yes.
Mark Harris,
Yes.
John Norman.
Yes.
The next item on the agenda is to appoint a new council member to fill the unexpired term of Jeff Hall, or Jeff Hearn. Jeff Hall works at the sewer farm. Jeff, as you all probably are aware, has moved to Graceland. He turned in his resignation on May 1st. However, KRS states that his 30 days starts today, and you guys have 30 days to replace him. At the end of that 30 days, if you guys do not replace him, then that moves to the governor. And the governor then will appoint someone.
And I'll be sending a letter tomorrow to the governor's office and the Department of Local Government and Secretary of State informing them of the vacancy on this. And and Lundy's absolutely right, he and I spoke about it, and the resignation is not effective the day that he signs it, or if any of you all, it's effective, and the next regular meeting is effective. So he's resigned as of tonight, that's why you got 5 instead of 6. So you are within your rights to appoint someone, but if, tonight if you want, but if you don't do it within 30 days, then Governor Bashir gets to appoint whoever it is he wants to do as a city.
Now, I do have to apologize to Steve Greenup. I should have sent this letter out to you guys, but it's dated 2/14, so obviously Steve caught word, put words in your mouth, so speak up anytime. You heard that Jeff Hearn was going to be moving, so you decided to turn in a letter of interest to me. I failed to give it to these 5 that's sitting here. So, and this is the only person that has contacted me in regards to filling the seat, or showed interest in the seat. So that job is,
I'll go ahead and make a motion that we accept Steve Brown's nomination and make him council.
Well, I kind of want to discuss this.
Hold on just a second.
Okay, I'm sorry.
What we're going to do is, we got a motion on the floor, and then we're going to get a second, and then we're going to discuss it. So if nobody seconds it, then it's going to die like a second. And then you all can talk about whatever you guys want to talk about. So right now, we have a motion on the floor. Is there a second?
I'll second.
We have a motion and a second on the floor, so now it's open to discussion.
Well, I mean, I don't know this gentleman, I'm sure he's a fine gentleman and all that, but, you know, such short notice to fill somebody's seat. And I don't even know Is there any kind of like qualifications? What are we doing? Just throw a name out there and just say, you know, we recommend so-and-so? Like I can pick somebody out of the audience and say, I recommend them.
Go ahead, Bruce.
I'll address that. Steve Brandon was previously on the council. He is continuing to stay on one of the groups that the mayor appointed him to. What group is that?
He is the actual chairman of Joint Sewer. I'm not sure that he wants it, but he's on here.
And, you know,
Six long years.
and he's, so he's just not anybody. Now, the second thing I want to point out is, I went to the clerk's office and I had him pull the voting registration. And I looked at the next person in line. The next person was Marty Stevens. And I got the word back from Marty really doesn't want to pursue that avenue. And the next person after that was Steve Brown. And I feel that's the fairest. The citizens of Greenup voted him next in line behind Marty. Marty doesn't feel like he wants to accept the position. I feel like that's the fairest way to go ahead and appoint somebody that the people of the town actually voted for. And so that was my reason behind it.
Well, like I said, I don't have any problem with that. I'm just saying it's so short notice. And then turn around and just fill it that fast. I think there needs to be some time to think about it. Other than a few days when I got down to say hi, that's all I'm saying.
Is there any more discussion?
So like if we waited until the next council meeting, that would be at the deadline right there, right?
I haven't looked at the calendar, but the issue would be right after that. For that to happen, I would have to get 4 of you guys to agree to come back to a special council meeting to fill the vacancy before the 30 days is up. Correct.
The next meeting would be on the 14th, so yeah.
It would be after the 30. So any more discussion? Roll call.
Bruce Vance.
Yes.
Mark Harris.
Yes.
John Mormon.
Yes.
Teresa Hill.
Same.
If you said abstain and you.
Abstain.
Abstain.
Uh-huh. What does that mean?
That either means if you stay in this room, you will go with the majority of the votes. But if you don't want to vote at all, then you would have to actually physically leave the room.
So you're withdrawing your abstain vote?
Yes.
Okay, and then Jamie Gillum.
Yes.
So motion passed. Congratulations. Once Stephen gets your paperwork drawn up, you will need to send me your full name.
I need you to sign the oath. I'll have it down in my office, or I can email it to you, and you can sign it for me.
I can come down.
Okay. You just get with me, okay? I'll give you a card afterwards. You can text me, all right?
I've got a couple of things that,
Be bad if you turn the flag down. Might be get accused of sedition.
a couple of items that I want to make you guys aware of. The update, as I told you guys at the previous council meeting, regular meeting, was I gave you an update that I thought that the Dave Worthington property was going to be purchased by the library. Since then, the last conversation that I had with our county attorney was that they were in the process of doing a title search. And yes, the library has purchased the Dave Worthington property. The library director has told me that they are accepting bids or had already accepted bids on tearing it down. And he didn't go into any details of what their plans were with it yet. Don't know if they even know, but wanted to update you guys on that. The playground equipment that we had talked about previously across the street, if weather permitting, That will start tomorrow. Firehouse temporary wall has already been built. It was built today, so that the building can start to be torn down. The Ghost three-phase electric service that was on the upper end of the firehouse has already been disconnected and removed, and I think it's called West End Electric has already installed the new 200 amp feed into the building, and AEP has already put this back up. So we've made that progress. I think you might be here to speak on behalf of Steve Ward.
If anybody, I'm here, Steve Ward sent me to the meeting, if anybody has any questions, he's teaching a class tonight, or he would have been here. But if anybody has any questions about the firehouse or anything and the internal workings, I'm here to answer any questions that city council may have, since I'm the assistant fire chief, so you can ask anything you need, and I might know it, I might not, but if I don't know it, I'll find the answer out. So if anybody has any questions. You will notice right now that we have one apparatus set outside, it's the rescue truck. We don't have anything that's pertinent on that rescue truck that's going to be exposed to the weather. We might, if it's going to be on the long-term issues, we might spin that old carport around, which we intend to get rid of as soon as it's constructed up with, and we might use it for a shelter for the rescue truck. Our ladder truck is having some refurbishment done up in Ohio. It's not here now, but if it gets back before we have a place to store it, then we're going to have an issue. We're going to have a fire truck that cannot sit outside, so we'll have to find a place for it. You know, we'll find some place. We might put it over here, put it there, but since it's summer, you know, weather other than rain and stuff like that, but, you know, all of these trucks, they all have at least $75,000 to $100,000 worth of equipment on the big red trucks, and that white rescue truck is just what it is. It's an old gas truck, but the bigger trucks, we just have to make sure that they stay secure and nobody gets to the equipment on them, because they are a lot of taxpayers' dollars on those trucks. So that's all I've got, unless anybody has any questions. I'll be more than happy to answer them.
I know that we bidded it out, and I spoke to Brandon today, and depending on, you know, a few other jobs that he's got going on, he is looking at whether committing 2 to 3 weeks start time up here. So you start to see action up there, and I would say it will go up very, very fast. So I know Brandon will. But that is all I have. Right now, I would ask for you guys to go into executive session.
Land?
Yes.
Yeah. Land. Possible acquisition of land, to be frank, to be blunt for the clerk.
Executive session.
I'm sorry?
Are we going?
Yes. I just need a motion to go into it.
Are we gonna come out with it? Because there's still some stuff that needs to be discussed.
You don't want to stay back there the rest of the night?
Well, I mean, people may not wanna stay all night. I know that we're not gonna stay there all night. Now, come on. There's people that wanna address that.
Well, there's a sign-in sheet right here, and nobody has signed in.
Well, I seen someone had thrown their hand out.
Give me just 1 second. As soon as they do that, then we'll do you, okay? You have a motion? You good? Go ahead.
Just want to know about, at one of the council meetings, you all talked about having the plans for the sidewalk going to the park. Has that been explained or what?
Richard has it.
Oh,
I can tell you, we have been working on the project. We have base mapping done, we've been working on the preliminary, we don't have anything to submit to the city yet, but we're working on it.
Will that have to be,
Yeah, that is the Riverwalk project she's speaking of, which is the part of the TAP grant, transportation cabinet.
Is it 90-10 or 80-20?
80-20.
80-20.
Once they approve it, then we request the additional funding for construction, and then it'll be bid out, and then it has to be performed by a contractor that's approved by the state.
okay. All right, I think that was before I
Yeah, it
Yeah, it
was.
was.
It was. So before we go into executive session, is there anybody else that would like to speak
I would like to speak. I got some questions.
before executive session?
Yes,
Absolutely, go ahead.
yes. First thing I just wanted to know is, who is the alcohol beverage administrator? What's his name or her name?
Officer Gullett.
Officer Gullett, okay. And could you give me just a procedure? Is it something that he has to send down to the state to keep a record of? How is that? How does that work?
You would need to speak to Officer Gullett about
Officer
that.
Gullett. Well, I will talk to Officer Gullett. Do you have his number?
I do, I'll give it to you after
Okay,
the
then
meeting.
I appreciate it. Okay, the second thing I want to know is the area down around the courthouse, where they had those little cones and everything, who's responsible for that? Is the city or is that county? To make sure that everything is done properly around that area?
What part of
Well,
it?
there's receptacles there that has cones on them. And I was noticing when we had the beautification committee had people down there, you had all these little kids running around and everything. And I was afraid that someone might get injured or something, so I wanted to
So
know.
to be technical,
Uh-huh,
and since Judge is sitting over there,
okay,
he can agree or disagree with me. Washington Street is a state road that runs from US 23 to the river.
mm-hmm,
The sidewalk is owned by the county that goes around the courthouse.
okay,
Harrison Street runs from Perry Street to the river.
okay,
Elizabeth Street runs right through the courthouse.
okay,
However, in your budget that you just passed,
mm-hmm,
we have like $75,000 in there for sidewalk renovations and to make all those repairs that you're talking about.
mm-hmm, okay. So are you saying I need to talk to the county about it?
No, I'm saying that you've got it in your budget right now,
Uh-huh,
that we're getting ready to start that project
okay,
after July 1, after that budget takes effect.
okay. So you're saying that after July 1, then do we have to talk about this again, about getting it fixed, or is it already in the motion?
It's already
or-
in your,
It's already in the budget?
Yes.
Okay, so after July 1st, they'll do something with those cones and make it more,
What we plan on doing is doing a lot of sidewalk repair down there and fixing the streetlights and fixing the electricity
okay, after July 1.
after
Okay.
July 1. Can't do
Okay.
anything until the new budget takes effect.
Okay, July 1, okay. One other last thing I want to ask is, how do we go about rezoning a particular property?
It depends on why you want to rezone it,
Mm-hmm,
but let me sketch out the procedure for everyone. If you want to make a change to your zoning ordinance at all, which includes changing the map into another zone, like if you wanted to zone, I don't know, my law office residential all of a sudden, which would have a fight if you did. But if you wanted to do that, you would first have me draw up an ordinance that says what the changes you wanted. I then, and you all look at it and you're okay with it, we then transmit that to the Joint Planning and Zoning Committee. The Joint Planning and Zoning Committee takes it up. They have to have a hearing, and typically they have those for Greenup in the Greenup City Building is what they do.
Correct.
Once that hearing is conducted, they make a recommendation back to the city. You all can accept the recommendation, which could be to change it or not to change it. And if you accept it, then fine, and if you don't accept it, then you have to conduct your own hearings and then do whatever it is that you want. But it's ultimately the city's decision about how to do it. That process, and I'm saying this in general, will take you anywhere from 3 months to 6 months, depending on how much of a change it is and what you want changed.
okay.
So if you want to know the best place to start, me drawing up the ordinance really isn't the issue. That can happen pretty quick. But the best place to start is probably with the chairman of the Joint Planning and Zoning Committee, who I think is still Tom Saylor. And if it's not Tom, then whoever it is, because he can look at the map with you and tell you if that's a change that, would be acceptable to the committee or not. And it can explain to you why or not. What you can't engage in, there's a process or a device called spot zoning, where you just change one property here and there, and that's not permitted under the statutes. So it really is highly dependent on what, the council actually wants to do. Is what it is. Now, since you brought it up, one thing that you all need to do is you need to have a more modern zoning ordinance. It's what you need. And You know, I could help draft that. There are consultants who draft them, but our ordinance hasn't changed significantly since it first came out from FICO in 1970.
Correct.
Yeah, in 1970, and times moved on. You see things happening in other cities that I'm not going to mention here because I don't want anyone to get any ideas, but that you may not want to have here in Greenup. And I'm not talking about keeping certain businesses out. I'm talking about how the town develops and grows or stays the same over the years. But you know that it, besides your wanting to rezone a property, it's also a good idea for you all to think about that.
Yeah.
I really would strongly encourage you to do it. You know, technology's changed a lot since 1970. What we can do and what we can't do, what we want to make use of our land for.
And I think that
Really
the
help.
previous council, and maybe even you all as well, I've even mentioned that to you before. And Tom Saylor he knows Greenup County, and it probably needs to get started before Tom Saylor completely retires. It is going to be a long process to rezone, and it will be a costly process. I'm going to say it's going to cost just for the city of Greenup upwards $60,000 to $90,000 just to update the zoning.
But
And that
the
would
thing
only
is,
affect future properties though, too. It would not affect the,
well, it might. It depends on what's decided by you all. I mean, it's not anyone's call, but the 6 people who are going to sit around this table.
yeah.
But remember, you last did it in 1970,
Yeah.
so you've gotten pretty good use out of it, pretty
Yeah.
good money. So, you know, paying, I know that's a large sum of money, but it's something that the town really needs to have as a blueprint going forward. And, you know, you all have to always remember, like I do, you're just the current people sitting in these seats. Like, you're not gonna sit here forever. None of us are. And so part of what your job is to remember that you have to try your best to look down the road 5, 10, 20 years from now and do right by the city so it can grow, but that places that need to be protected and need to remain residential or whatever stay protected as well.
And I'll take that a step further is that, you know, we have done a couple of different annexations. And as of right now, those have been left out of the zoning map
They
as
need
well.
to be included
They need
in
to
it.
be included.
You
So,
bet.
Definitely.
Absolutely. You need to make some good choices about what those are gonna be. That's what we need to do.
I do have a question. If we were to challenge that in legal fees, how much would that, I mean, how much would that cost?
Challenge.
Like, she was mentioning challenging something. Would that be on taxpayer money? Like
I
all
don't
those things?
understand what anyone means by challenging something. If you're,
Well, she was wanting to challenge a zoning. Would that be? I
the
mean,
only challenges I see to zoning normally are by private citizens or companies who don't
Yeah.
like the way their property's zoned.
Yeah.
And if someone challenges that, then yeah, I mean, it would cost something, but I've never seen anyone challenge a new zoning ordinance. Not yet. They might, but I doubt it, yeah.
Yeah.
A lot of it'll remain the same, but
Yeah.
I've done this for 25
28?
years. Yeah, 28 years. And there's a lot of, I guess I'd say, not holes, but room for interpretation in your ordinance that shouldn't be there, and your citizens deserve to know
Yeah.
what they can and can't do. I mean, they, you know, and it needs to be written, not so I'm the only one or some other lawyer that can read it.
Yeah.
All right? I mean, it needs to be written so anyone can get a copy and say, my fence can't be more than 4 feet high. I mean, right?
That's my whole purpose,
Yeah,
is just
well, it needs to be
misunderstanding,
changed.
yes.
It needs to be changed, and it needs to be, it was written 50, however many years ago. Yeah, and it needs to be changed, so it's very accessible, so you put it on your website, anyone can go look at it, figure it out.
I'm glad you brought that up. Josh and I have talked, and I know we had some concerns from citizens before about making more things accessible online. So Josh is in the process. He's taken over our website, and he's building it, and then we're going to start scanning documents, scanning ordinances, and making things a lot more accessible, and getting those things on our website and keeping our website up to date. Someone local managing it. So
That's good.
Good thing.
So does anybody else have anything? I need someone to entertain a motion to go into executive session on possible land acquisition.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second
Have a motion and a second. Roll call.
Mark Harris.
Yes.
John Norman.
Yes.
Doretha Hill. Bruce Mance.
Yes.
Jamie Gillen.
All right, yes.
We will return. Josh, as soon as you're ready, we're good to go. So I need someone to make a motion to come out of executive session.
I'll make them, or go ahead, Jerry. Go ahead. You
I'll
raise your
second
hand.
Mark.
I'll make a motion to come out of executive session, no action taken.
I'll second it.
That is all that's on my agenda and your all's agenda, unless somebody else has.
We need to vote.
Oh, I'm sorry. Roll call vote on coming out of executive session.
Mark Harris,
Yes.
Jamie Gillum,
Yes.
Doretha Hill,
Yes.
Bruce Mance,
Yes.
John Norman.
Yes. That's all that I have on my agenda, unless one of you all have something that you guys want to discuss. If not, someone will want to entertain a motion to adjourn.
I'll second.
Have a motion. All in favor, say aye.
Let's all go enjoy this beautiful evening.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
Oh, that doesn't sound bad. Is everyone invited?